Hey, what's up, guys? Master Flex here. Today is May 28th. It is the second day since I posted my other video, which, May 27th. Today is May 28th. And, as I've been doing for the past couple of videos, I want to inform you guys that this video will not be uploaded anytime soon. So whatever I say now, by the time it's actually public, it's going to be private, but when it's actually public, it may not be the same way. So just know that today is May 28th, but that is not the day that this video will actually be out there. So, one interesting topic that has come to my mind, of course, lately is regarding the WWE. And, it's been a thing I've been hearing. I hear this a lot. A lot of people, pretty much ever since the brand split that happened last year, when the brand split was bought back last year, and they put SmackDown and Raw into separate brands with people on different shows, it's always been a debate over which show is better ever since the brand split started. At first, on the first episode of the brand split, everybody was like, Raw won. Then from there, it just kept going and kept going. And the only time that SmackDown had actually even beaten Raw in ratings was when it was the end of 2016. They had the highest, that was like the highest rating SmackDown had ever got. They actually had beat Raw. That was the first time it happened. But since then, Raw has always seemed to be on top. No matter if it's because they've used part-timers to do it or what it is, they've always found some type of way to beat SmackDown ratings. Well, with that, there's been something that I've heard a lot about, and, I'm going to address my thoughts on it. The comparison between the tag team divisions. And the one thing that I notice is that a lot of people say that the Raw tag team division is better than SmackDown. So I'm going to give my thoughts. This is my personal opinion. People don't have to know I agree with this, but I'm going to give my thoughts on WWE SmackDown's tag team division. Now, on the Raw side of things, you got Sheamus, Cesaro, you got the Hardy Boys because they came back. You got the Rhea Rival, but right now one of them is injured, so that's why we haven't been seeing them wrestle, because one of them got injured during a house show, so we only saw them twice, and that's when they went against the New Day. You got Enzo Amore and Big Cass on the Raw side, and you also got Heath Slater and Rhino. They got moved to the Raw side doing the Superstar Shakeup. And I think that's pretty much, oh yeah, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson as well, can't forget them. And it was Goldust and Truth, but now Goldust turned his back on Truth, so now they're no longer a team. But they got a pretty big pile of people in their team, a pretty good pile of tag teams on the Raw side. However, on the SmackDown side, you got the Usos, you got the Ascension. We did have the Vaudevillains, but now they released one of them. I can't remember what his name is. I know it's not Englishman. It's the other guy. I can't remember what his name is. He got released too, so they're no longer a team. And you got the Epico and Primo, who no longer refer to themselves as the Shining Stars, which I'm actually glad, because that name just couldn't fit for them. I mean, they keep changing their name all the time, but that name couldn't just fit with them. They're like the Collins or something now. And you have the New Day, who we have yet to even see wrestle right now. Like I said, by the time this video is out, they'll probably actually have a match on SmackDown Live, but right now we have yet to even see them debut, really. We've seen them on Talking Smack. We haven't really seen them debut. And you have who can ever forget Tyler Breeze and Breezango, however you say them, that everybody's saying that deserves to be tag team champions. Now, the one thing, you also have the American Alphas. Now, one thing that I will say about the SmackDown's tag team division is that one of the reasons why the tag team division on SmackDown has been kind of lackey is because, first of all, they can't always fit the matches, a tag team match on almost every SmackDown. Sometimes we don't even see them have a tag team match on SmackDown. And then also, we don't even see all the teams. We barely see all the teams get used. And then when they do get used, they're usually just jobbing out. Like the Ascension, we don't even see them on SmackDown all the time. And when they are on SmackDown, they're just losing. Or the American Alphas, we barely even see them on SmackDown ever since they lost the tag team titles. But it's like, the way that it is, it needs some kind of tune-up. And that's one of the reasons why the SmackDown tag team division is kind of falling, because they don't really have real full competition in the division. Because we see so many teams that have the potential to actually be tag team champions, but they're not really utilizing them. We don't even see them on television all the time. One minute we might see the American Alphas, the next minute we might not see them. One minute we might see the Ascension, the next minute we might not see them. One minute we might see the Collins, the next minute we might not see them. I mean, it's just a matter of consistency. And one thing about the SmackDown tag team division that I've noticed is that they don't have that. They don't have a consistency. One thing I say about Raw is it almost seems like every time I look at Raw, when it comes to tag team division, they always have some type of tag team match with them facing somebody in the mix of Raw. But that's because it's 3 hours. I can't really compare them too much because SmackDown's 2 hours, but Raw is 3 hours, but still they're able to do that. SmackDown Live, they're not always able to fit a tag team match in there into the mix. And it doesn't always have to be a tag team versus another tag team. You know, on some occasions it could be a pair of two guys. Like, for example, it could just be two guys teaming up that's not even a tag team facing an actual tag team. That can happen as well. A perfect example of that would probably be on Raw when the New Day had that triple threat tag team match, and two of the guys that was in it was Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And at the time, it wasn't like the Shield reunited, so they were just teaming up for that particular match. But, that's one of the reasons why SmackDown's tag team division is falling, because they don't really have a consistency with their level of teamwork and matches, and they're not using all of their tag teams all the time. And these teams have the potential. It's not that they don't have the potential. It's the way that they're being booked that's making it seem as if the tag team division doesn't have a lot of good teams. When you look at the Ascension, they were dominant in NXT. They actually were the longest reigning NXT tag team champions before they lost it to Kalisto and Sin Cara. you know, the Lucha Dragons. Before they lost to them, they were like the longest reigning NXT Tag Team Champions, if I'm not mistaken. So they had success in the NXT side of things, but once they got bought to the main roster, that's where they just dropped downhill because of the booking of the WWE. And that's one of the issues that I've noticed on SmackDown Live, because you got the Usos currently, who are the tag team champions, who won the tag team titles from the American Alphas 2 months ago, right before WrestleMania, like on like the last SmackDown of March or so. They won the tag team titles, and at that time, people were like cheering because they actually wanted the American Alphas to lose. But now everybody's like already tired of seeing the Usos being tag team champions. I'm like, it's like you get that one glance of everybody cheering for you, but then it's like once you get there, then all of a sudden they don't cheer for you no more. And I just don't understand it. It's like 1 minute they cheer for you when they want you to be tag team champions, but then when you're actually tag team champions, and that's really for any title, the fans do this, which I don't understand. It's like they push you and they keep saying to push this team or push that team, but then when the team finally does get pushed, then the fans just give up on them, and next thing you know, the fans all of a sudden they start booing them, or you know they don't like them no more. They want another team to get pushed. It's like, make up your minds. The fans nowadays, their minds are just all over the place. But I think what would really help the tag team division on SmackDown Live, at least I would have thought this would have happened during the Superstar Shakeup. I was hoping this would have happened then, was since they had moved the Re-Arrival from the main roster the night after WrestleMania and brought them to Raw, then I would have thought that when Vince McMahon announced that night that he was going to do a Superstar Shakeup, that the next SmackDown Live DIY was going to come there, because that would have been a perfect opportunity on the next SmackDown Live during the Superstar Shakeup to bring DIY there. That's what we all thought. We all thought DIY was going to come to SmackDown Live, because I think this is where you really need to get some more teams out there. And that's the thing SmackDown Live doesn't have. Like they have teams that have the potential, and these teams can be booked well, but it's like the booking that they have them in is why it seems like it's so much of a failure of the tag team division. But it can be a very successful division if they actually utilize all the tag teams more often. And that's one of the issues that they don't know how to do. Because they need to bring DIY, because they bring DIY, oh, it's going to be some real good tag. It's going to be some real greatness going in the tag team division for SmackDown. Nobody would really have a reason to complain, because DIY is one of the best tag teams out there right now. Of course, they can't bring the Authors of Pain right now because they're still NXT Tag Team Champions in NXT, and they're not even. I'll give them about a year or two before they can even come to the main roster. But as far as DIY, I would have thought they would have got taken to SmackDown Live the minute the Re-Arrival was put on Raw the night after WrestleMania. I thought that DIY would have came to SmackDown Live literally the next week, but we didn't see that happen. So, you know, this is where you really start to try to build the SmackDown Tag Team division, because one of the issues is that it's not any real competition, because they're having, you know, most of the teams booked as jobbers, and they're not really having them on the show half the time. They're not really televising them half the time, and we only see them when they're jobbing out. And even when the teams do win the tag team title, we still barely see them. And you know, that's one of the reasons why everybody's saying that the SmackDown Tag Team division, it sucks, because of the fact that they're not really building these teams into some type of success. You know, and that's one of the biggest things, one of the biggest problems that I realized with the SmackDown side of things. I mean, it's crazy because, you know, like I said, before these teams even came to where they were at, they had success. You know, I think if you give Fandango and Tyler Breeze more time, then, you know, they can very well become the tag team champion. Do I think they should win it now? Not necessarily. So when I watched SmackDown Live and saw that the Usos defended their title again against the Breezango, because they defeated them at Backlash, and they defeated them again on SmackDown Live. Of course, like I said, when this video come out, it'll be old, so all this stuff will be old. So I don't even know if they will be tag team champions by the time I put this video out there. But I will say that I think it was smart to keep it on the Usos right now because even though the fans are behind Breezango, it's like you don't want to rush it too fast and immediately push that team to be the tag team champions. Because a perfect example of that is the American Alphas. When the American Alphas won the tag team titles last year, at the end of last year, the very last episode of SmackDown Live, when it was like a fatal four-way tag team match or so, you had Randy Orton and Luke Harper, because they were the tag team champions at the time, the Wyatts. You had the American Alphas, you had Heath Slater and Rhino, and I think there was one other team in this match. I want to say that Ascension, but I don't want to be wrong. But they won the match. They won the tag team titles. Everybody was behind them. Then all of a sudden, they got tired of them because of the way that their characters are. And that's the thing. They need to like build on the characters of the SmackDown side. They need to build on how the characters are, make the characters more step out more, actually have them maybe speak on the mic more, have more tag team matches. It don't have to be repetitive with the same teams over and over again. Because one thing I also noticed, like I said before, is that it tends to be repetitive. They don't have to do that, which is something Raw kind of does, but still the tag team division is a little bit better in SmackDown Lives. They need to just have a whole readjustment altogether. Because I think if you really give the Usos a good storyline, good storytelling, and actually build from there, they could actually be some pretty successful tag team as tag team champions. You know, they were already red hot in 2014 when they were tag team champions back then, but it's like every time there's always a certain time period where the fans want a particular team to get pushed, and when that team ends up actually getting pushed, sometimes it can be a bad outcome because that team might not have been ready to immediately get pushed out there. But like I said, one of the issues that I notice is that, you know, they have a tendency of having all these teams not really being utilized as much, and they need to work on that and fix that, and SmackDown Live be pure gold with the tag team division. There was a time where SmackDown in general had one of the better tag team divisions than Monday Night Raw. I mean, when you go back to the Ruthless Aggression era, you had teams like the world's greatest tag team, self-proclaimed Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Hawks, that had some of the most classical matches in recent memory. You had teams like Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman. They weren't a full-year team, but they did team up. You had the Los Guerreros, Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero. You know, you had Rhino and Chris Benoit when those two were teamed up. I mean, you had a lot of teams out there compared to how you have now. Like, we're losing the prestige of the tag team division on SmackDown Live. You had a lot of good tag teams back then around that era, around the Ruthless Aggression. Even later on in time, we got Paul London and Brian Kendrick when they started teaming up on the SmackDown side of things. And they became the longest reigning tag team champions of that particular era until that got broken by the New Day. But you had a lot of teams that were able to rival with each other. We don't really see that nowadays, where there's a lot of good teams out there that's having rivalries with each other. We don't really see that. It mainly just focuses on one particular team, and that's one of the issues. They should build from that. They only seem to focus on one particular team or so, or one or another team, and then the other team is getting shut down, and that's why before you know it, they end up either getting released or they request to get released because they're not going anywhere with their characters. They're not going anywhere with who the person they're teaming with. They're not happy with the stat that they're in, and you know, in some ways, I don't blame them, because I mean, what's the point of basically, what's the point of being there, you know, it's your job or whatever, but you're not even. They're not having you do anything, and when they do use you, you're just jobbing out. But you're barely being used. You're not even on television barely. And like I said, it's a sad thing because some of these teams, we seen them where, before they even came to the main roster, so they were actually a successful team. But, once they came to the main roster, then it was a whole different story. And like I said before, it's not that they can't use, even though the Superstar Shakeup took some teams out of SmackDown Live, it also brought some teams in. And this is the time that you use those teams. Don't just particularly use one or two teams and keep it focused on them, because that's one of the reasons why it seems like every time the title does change hands, it's not really a significant flow. And that's one of the reasons why the tag team division on SmackDown Live needs a tune-up. I think if you just give it a tune-up, and like I said, one of those tune-ups that should have happened earlier was bringing DIY there, because then they would have really boosted up the tag team division. Because you got the New Day that got moved to SmackDown Live, but they still have yet to actually build a storyline between the New Day and the Usos. Everybody's been talking about how they can see the New Day and the Usos squaring off against each other, and also seeing them throw Breezango in there and possibly a 14 in there, so they can either have a triple threat tag team match at the next pay-per-view, which will be Money in the Bank, or put them at Fatal 4-Way tag team match. I think the reason, though, is because for a while, Kofi Kingston was injured. He was actually injured for a while, if I'm not mistaken, because when they had that match with the Rhea Rival, I think it was the second match, not the first one, the second one, or it might have been the first one, he got injured. Yeah, it was the first one, actually. He got injured because of the move they used on him, that they used to use on NXT to injure a lot of people. They actually injured him for real. That's why the New Day has been probably doing all these advertisements and haven't really had a match yet. But by the time this video comes out, they'll already be wrestling. But they just need to fix the tag team division altogether. Like I said, one of the problems already is that we don't even see the tag teams wrestling all the time. So there are sometimes we don't even see them get used. They're not even on television. That's why it's like the tag team division is falling. There was a time where you just wanted to see SmackDown's tag team division. That was like red hot. You had all the good tag teams. You had some of the best tag teams out there. And even though it seemed like they faced each other more than once, it was a lot of teams. So there was a lot of competition. So whenever a team got finished rivaling with one team, they were able to rival with another. But now it seems as though they don't have a lot of tag teams out there to keep that flow going, because, it's kind of like they can't decide who they want to be the faces. They can't decide who they want to be the heels. I think DIY most likely will probably be baby faces, only because they already have enough heels on SmackDown Live. You got the Ascension that are heels. You got the Usos that are heels. The New Day is supposed to be baby faces. So, they got to, first of all, that's one problem. They got to sort out who the heels are and who the faces are, because it seems as though they got more heels on the SmackDown side than faces, and they need to sort that out, fix that up. Then they can go from there and rival and have the teams rival with each other, because that's one of the things that seems to be a drag. But we don't seem to have, like I said before, a lot of mixtures of great teams on SmackDown Live nowadays. And that's why I said one of the reasons, because of how they're using the booking, and they just need to fix that. It was a lot more when the Vaudevillains was there, but now they're no longer, so that team doesn't exist anymore. But I think if you give it some time, they have some readjustment. So the perfect chance would have been to bring DIY. That would have been perfect to bring SmackDown Live. And I don't even know, I heard rumors that they're supposed to do an actual draft later on this year, because that was just a Superstar Shakeup. With the Superstar Shakeup, all that did was just basically have a bunch of trades. But I believe they said they were going to do an actual draft. Don't know if they are, but they said they were. It was like rumors I heard. And either way, whether it's a draft or something, DIY has got to come to the home of SmackDown Live. Raw already got enough teams. They don't need DIY to be there, especially when they got the Real Rival already. That's already a good team, and they're on the hill side of things. Bring DIY to SmackDown Live. Raw does not need to take up all the teams. They already have enough teams. So bring DIY to SmackDown Live, and that will like boost up the tag team division even more than it already is. That would actually make people tune in to the tag team division, because right now it's like people are saying that the tag team division on SmackDown, it's just falling, because I always hear everybody say that SmackDown Live is better than, some people say SmackDown better than Raw, some people say Raw better than SmackDown, some people say they hate both of them, but in most cases it's always the war between which one is better. But when it comes to the tag team divisions, I can't really get mad at the ones that are saying that Raw's tag team division is a little bit better than SmackDown Live's, even though they repeat the same thing over and over. They have more tag teams that they utilize than how SmackDown Live does. It seems like SmackDown Live pretty much uses the same teams almost every week that they use them, and the only times they use the other teams is when they're having a job. So that's one of the things that SmackDown Live needs to increase on. But by the time this video comes out, they might do so. But this is just a suggestion that I believe on my thoughts towards WWE SmackDown Live's tag team division. I think they have a tune-up, fix it, shake it up, actually make some change, actually build some characters, because that's another thing. It seems as though a lot of SmackDown teams don't really have a lot of character in them, a lot of actual good character. Build some character, then the tag team division of SmackDown Live will be interesting. Build their characters, build them as a whole, have some good storytelling with the tag teams. That will actually boost them into something. And then from there, SmackDown Live, the tag team division will actually mean something. It will actually be worth something. And, that's really all I can say. I think they do that, they book it that way, then it'll be a success. And believe me, this is only my video about the tag team division of SmackDown Live, but I got a heck of a lot more videos I'm probably going to do towards other wrestling divisions that I've noticed has been lacking. But this is just one of them that I've heard people talk about, and I wanted to trust my thoughts on how I feel about the SmackDown Live's tag team division, how they can fix that, and how, it can be successful again. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. Like I said, today's May 28th. That is not the day this video will be out, but it will be coming when I put it out there. It should be no more than a month or two from now. I'm not trying to wait too long. We'll see. Depends on the progress of videos that I'm going to be uploading. It's a series going on, so this is like the 10th of the series. But I hope you guys enjoy this video when you see it. Hope everybody likes it. Hope everybody watching everything. I would love for the views to go up, because I'm working as hard as I can to get my wrestling videos out there. Boom, get the crack and everything. Hadn't really been keeping up making wrestling videos. It's late. That's why I've been making them more so now, because I still keep up with it. But school and all that took me away. By the time this stuff come out, I will already be out of school. And I'm about to be out of school soon anyway. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. This, thumbs up, whatever. Like, comment, subscribe, and